Oh, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? All right. It's all good today. How you doing today? It's what is it? It is the 11th of November. Man, we're halfway through November, and so the year is almost complete. Oh God, it's the halfway point. I got a lot of stuff to achieve the next 2 weeks. I just realized. All right, we're here again. Oh my, this is long. This is long. The theme song seems kind of long today. Okay, now we're almost done. We're almost done now. All right, so what's happening? How y'all doing? I'm Jay. We're back again. It's Thursday, and hey, yeah, we're here to do coffee and cigars as always on Thursday nights. What am I thinking? So I was just a little bit distracted because I was just in a Zoom meeting with my union, and if you might not have heard me talk about this before, but I belong to the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees and Motion Picture Machine Operators, also known as the IATSE. You might have heard about them recently because there's been a lot of talk over the last couple of months about striking, and Alec Baldwin just shot one of our members last couple weeks ago at the beginning of the month, or the end of last month. And so there's been a whole new contract negotiation, and that's come now. The ratification vote is tomorrow, and so our union was holding a town hall meeting. So I was just listening. I was really there to listen, not really to discuss or anything like that. And so we are, so they were just talking about the issues. Of course, all of the business agents and of all of the locals around the country, as well as the national leadership, is all voted, is encouraging everyone to vote yes, but there's a lot of people out there that want to vote no, and so it's going to be interesting. Like, we had a strike vote back in the beginning of October that got 98% approval to strike because people are just pissed off. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm interested to see. So voting is tomorrow, or voting starts tomorrow, and it runs through, and then we'll get results back on the 15th. So it should be kind of interesting. And the Brian's out there. What's going on, man? How you doing, Brian? The coffee guide does go up in 3 days. So I finally finished that coffee guide, and shot 2 but only killed 1. Yeah, people down in New Mexico, man, they're crazy in New Mexico. But yeah, that's been an interesting. Whoops. That has been sorry, one moment. I'm trying to fix my window here. But yes, so today we're going to be, of course, as always, we're drinking coffee and smoking cigars. All the good vices, all the stuff that's addictive. So today's coffee we're going to be doing is the Perla Negra. It's a anaerobic fermented coffee, which means that we use malolactic fermentation, or we use an anaerobic environment. So it's a reduced oxygen environment during the processing, and then it is that low oxygen environment forces the coffee to undergo malolactic fermentation, converting the malic acids into lactic acids, which impart a sweet milkiness to the coffee. If you do it right, it's sweet milky. If you do it too much, it's a little bit crazy, like blue cheesy crazy. So yeah, that's what we're drinking today. And we're going to do that at the AeroPress. The AeroPress is a relatively new coffee brewing device created by Alan Adler, the owner or the founder, the inventor of the Aerosdisc. And he's a coffee guy, and he wanted to figure out how to make a pressurized brewing device. And so he came up with this. And it is It came out in 2005. And it's really just taken by the storm. I know we've used this in the past before, and we've talked about this a lot. But this is what we're going to be using today. This is one of the older ones that I have. It's like all of the logos have been worn off. Like you can barely see it right here. You can't see any of that there. Right here, you can barely see it right there. See it? AeroPress. Right? All right. Well, thank you there. Thank you, Rusty. Are we on schedule, Rusty, for Sunday? What is the plan? And the guy says, hear about the lab-grown coffee to reduce. I have not heard of this. Lab-grown coffee to reduce carbon emissions. Let's just look this up. Lab-grown coffee. Well, here it is. There's a Guardian article, but let's look at Kenosha News because you know what? Things are kind of fun down in Kenosha. Lab-grown coffee could cut carbon footprint. Finnish researchers are creating lab-grown coffee in an effort to reduce the deforestation, pesticides, and energy used in traditional growing methods. There's no news. I'm not watching a video. You know what? Here's the strange thing. I really dislike watching videos like news articles like this. Typically, I want to read it. I don't want to have to all right, let's see what the Guardian says. Beanless brews can cut deforestation and greenhouse gas emissions dramatically. What happens to workers in traditional growing regions? Let's see. Heiko Reichner isn't quite sure how to describe the taste of lab-grown coffee. This summer, he sampled one of the first batches in the world produced from cell cultures rather than beans. Well, what does that mean, cell cultures? To describe it is difficult, but for me, it was an in-between a coffee and a black tea. It really depends on the roasting grade, and this was a bit of a lighter roast, so it had a bit more of a tea-like sensation. Risher couldn't swallow the coffee. Wow, it's that bad, huh? As this cellular agriculture innovation is not yet approved for public consumption. Instead, he swirled the liquid around his mouth and spit it out. He predicts that the lab-grown coffee could get regulatory approval in Europe and the US in about 4 years' time, paving the way for commercialized product that have much lower climate impact. So what's the purpose of why are you growing it in this scenario? The coffee industry is both a contributor to the climate crisis and very vulnerable to its effects, rising demand, blah, 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 blah. At the same time, coffee producers, whatever. In response to the industry's challenges, companies and scientists are trying to develop and commercialize coffee made without coffee beans. Oh, here's something. It's estimated that half of the land used to grow coffee could be unproductive by 2050. That's actually pretty true. Actually, it's a little bit worse than just coffee. From what people have told me from food scientists actually at a big company based locally to me, have told me that by 2050 we could lose most of our production of spices, right? Spices are big. It's big. Their business is spice, right? So their thing is spices will probably become more of a luxury item as climate change changes the world and the growing regions. They'll have to, and as population increases, they will have to probably start converting land that's currently being used for spice crop type stuff into more protein production for actual sustenance. They were telling me a while back that especially as we approach 10 billion people in the world, and we're right around 7.5 billion at the moment, where actual arable land is really good for about 5 billion people. So we're already 2.5 billion people too many. That this is really going to change a lot of how the world eats soon, and pretty soon. All right, so the coffee is grown by floating cell cultures in bioreactors filled with a nutrient. If you ever recall this movie a while back, that they would take a little seedling and put it into this tube with a hose attached to it, and then they would grow the fetus into a battery. that kind of sounds like this. Coffee is grown by floating cell cultures in bioreactors filled with a nutrient. Man, the process requires no pesticides and has a much lower water footprint. And because the coffee can be produced in local markets, it cuts transport emissions. The company's working on a life cycle analysis of the process. Once we have these figures, we'll be able to show. So they're talking about growing coffee now in a non-soil condition. It says beanless, though. I'm not sure exactly how they can produce it as a beanless thing, because the actual coffee is a bean, right? American startups are working on beanless coffee. September, Seattle-based Adamo Coffee released what's called world first molecular coffee in a one-day pop-up. In a can. Makes coffee by converting the compounds from plant waste into the same compounds contained in green coffee. Ingredients including date seed extracts, chicory root, grape skin, as well as caffeine are roasted, ground, and brewed. 93% lower carbon emissions and 94% less water than the conventional coffee production, as well as no deforestation. The industry has known about deleterious effects of coffee farming for a long time, whether we're talking deforestation or major water usage. You know, here's the thing, like deforestation, like if there is actually deforestation happening in coffee, it's really being done by large conglomerates that are building like mass plantations. But in specialty, for most coffee producers, they're not deforesting, they're growing within the forest. Adamos's facility can produce about 1,000 servings of coffee a day. The goal is to increase that 10,000 servings. But here's the thing. So they were talking a moment ago about date seed extracts. And they're talking also here, they were saying earlier that where was it? Oh, here it is. This method, here it is, this right here. This method results in 93% lower carbon emissions and less water than conventional coffee production, meaning that, and part of that, a big thing they were just talking about earlier was that, here it is up here, that because coffee can produce in local markets, it cuts transport emissions. Now, however, here's the thing, we're also now talking about date seed extracts. There's only really, well, majority of the dates produced, quality dates, are produced in the Middle East. So there is California production of dates, and I guess you could get it from there. But if you're talking about dates, you know, you're going to have to get a lot. If you're doing large production, you're going to have to probably get a lot of that from the Middle East as well. So you're still shipping that across the country, or across the, you know, you're still having carbon emissions from transportation. Sounds delicious when I get my. What do you mean Starbucks close by your house? They got a big one right there at the corner of Bel Air, Loch Raven, and Joppa, don't they? Anyway, let's see here. What else are they talking about here? $10,000, 10,000 servings a day over the next 12 months. And in 2 years, move to a facility that can produce 30 million servings of coffee a year. Wow, that's craziness. Alternative coffee companies like Adamo not only have the potential to help tackle the economic crisis, but help benefit the industry generally. Take Arabica beans. You need specific climatic patterns, and it's much better if you're more in control. If you're more in control in a laboratory environment than just relying on Mother Nature. Technology can help stabilize production and make it more predictable. Sure, of course. It'll also probably make it more benign. But it's unclear how many people want to give up the conventional coffee for its beanless counterparts. Really, the general consumer wouldn't have a say in it. It's just once you start to replace it, you just replace it. And someone like these people, Sylvain Charlebois and Marcel Sanz, would make millions in the process. they're working to reinvent coffee and show people why doing so matters. Compound Foods has secured $4.5 million in seed funding to recreate coffee farm production in the lab. That's it's interesting. There's interesting. So the Bell Lock Starbucks closed. That's crazy. But Daniele Giovannucci, president and co-founder of the Committee on Sustainability Assessment, a consortium that focuses on agricultural sustainability, is concerned that scaling up lab-grown coffee could affect the livelihoods of the millions of workers in the traditional coffee industry, especially in countries such as Ethiopia, where coffee is central to the economy. What's going to happen to all these people? What are they going to do? Because this is, that's the perennial thing that we're doing in our modern capitalistic society, is that if we can eliminate the cost of labor, the cost of and lower cost of production, all the better, right? That's what we're about. That's what our whole world is about. Reduce labor, reduce cost of production, and increase revenue and profitability for the company itself. There's a risk, he said, that the lab-grown coffee could create significant socioeconomic problems that could drive even greater climate change. Yes, but here's the thing. So as we move to lab-produced or coffee produced in laboratory conditions here, let's say here in the United States, and we stop importing coffee from Central America. Well, here's the other side of it. So we will then, that will help to hasten the demise of the local economies in Central America, right? Because coffee is a major crop for them, export crop. And we can do that, and that's fine, because, we, as America, we're going to be opening these lab places, and we can have plenty of jobs for all the people that are coming to our borders now, because we've displaced their industry. So once we wiped out the coffee industry, we can then have their workers come to America to work here, because we've got plenty of jobs, and we'll have more jobs because now they can work in a lab instead of out there in the farms in Central America. And we kind of saw this early on. Like, there was a time, like in the 80s, when El Salvador's production was tremendously large, one of the largest in Central America. Time goes by, there's been a lot of different changes. The coffee industry in El Salvador is minuscule compared to how it used to be, right? Over 30 years, it shrunk tremendously. So let's say, like, before they were exporting 25, 30 million bags, now they maybe export 5 million bags a year, right? So very, very small comparatively. And we've also seen that, as those industries dried up, we made space for them here in America. So they all came here. So it's okay. It should be okay. Well, I mean, if you do that, you could do that, build a lab in South America or Central America, but then you lose your emissions, your carbon and footprint emissions, right? Because you got to fly that product or transport that product here. So you're not really saving the world. Plus, you have this extra expense. You probably don't need, like one of the farms that I work with, just off the top of my head, during the peak of production, their worker count, balloons to 400 people during the harvest season. God knows. So you build these labs and you're making what, 30 million servings. You could probably automate it and get, 10 people, 20 people at the most at $25 an hour. Man, so much cheaper than 400 people in Central America. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I say it's all good. Bring the production up here. We'll just get more influx of immigrants to America because, well, they got nowhere else to go. They got no work where they are. So their economy's gone down the tubes. So America is strong. They might also come to America and share in what we have, share in our bounty here in the United States, right? Good, good, good. While lab-grown coffee shows real promise, the politics should not be underestimated, especially as so many farmers depend on conventional methods of producing crops and many of them live in developing economies. Scalability is not an issue for lab-grown coffee, but regulations and general acceptance of technology. Regulations, they'll get around that. General acceptance, like I said, general acceptance, if it's available, people will buy. I mean, look at the shit people buy today. They buy all kinds of crap. I was just at the grocery store today watching these people. I'm like, they're buying like processed foods. I'm like, oh my God. Does no one know how to make food anymore? Anyway, but now we're getting a little bit sidetracked. So let's get to the coffee because the water's got to be getting cold. All right, so here we are. We got our AeroPress. We'll do it this way. AeroPress. We have our ground coffee, the Perla Negra. Soon I won't have to go to Nicaragua anymore. I can just call up some lab here in America and just have it sent to me. So it's really simple to use the AeroPress, right? We just put the coffee in. So I'm using 36 grams of coffee. I'm using a harder, like higher ratio because we're going to dilute it. Brian says, hell yeah, love their food, work ethic, and strong family values. Yeah, exactly. That's what we want. Family values, people that are caring about their families, centralized, religious. I mean, the truth is, many Latinos are very on the conservative side. So, they're God-fearing, family-oriented. What's that to like? All right, so we're going to add the water. So I'm going to add about 4 ounces of water. Right to about there. We're going to take our paddle and stir. We're going to stir for about 90 seconds or so. And the guy says, Starbucks puts so much sugar, most won't know the difference. Hell, I bet Starbucks could save money by on their frappuccinos. They probably don't even have to put coffee at all. So we're just going for it. We're just stirring. Oh, and then Brian says, if Starbucks bell lock is too dangerous. Really? They really closed that one? That was supposed to be like their big one. Oh, I'm surprised. I'm surprised and disappointed. All right, so there's a filter holder that goes here on the top, right? So we just put that in here. This is the filter paper that comes that you get. Oh, darn it. Oh, no. And then it locks in place, right? And then we'll take our kettle. We turn it over, and then now we just press, right? We just press down. Whoa. So you hear that hiss, right? That means that you've pretty much finished your brewing. And then now we'll just tilt it over and let the liquid flow through. All right, now we've got about 200, maybe 200 mils of coffee, pressed brewed coffee. Let's give it a taste. So it's a concentrated brew at this point. So the idea behind Alan Adler's idea behind this was to create like an espresso, like a portable espresso. I mean, that's pretty thick. That's actually kind of nice. Now it's not exactly espresso because it's it doesn't have the pressurization that espresso would. All right, let's add some water to that. I'm going to bring it to 300 mils. I kind of like the thickness of that concentrated brew. Oh, yes, here we are. The champion will judge. I had the light here just the other day, yesterday, or maybe this morning. All right, well, we'll do it this way. So here's the, whoops. So it looks pretty clean. The filter paper works well, so it's a relatively clean cup. All right, let's have a taste. Oh, sweetness, creamy. It's a little bit sweetness and creamy, a little bit dry on the finish. Maybe the taste of dry fruits, maybe like a dried date. Brian says that's weak looking espresso. It's definitely weak looking espresso. Oh yeah, also want to catch up. Rusty says Sunday is a go. He will be getting there before 10 a.m. to set up and start cooking. Once it starts to simmer, set up the lawn chair, light up a cigar, and hang out. Oh, good, excellent. All right, so we will plan on that. We were yesterday I was watching this show yesterday. What was I watching? I was watching a video. There's this guy called Sonny, and he makes this YouTube channel called The World's Best Food Review Show, something like that. American guy who's kind of enthusiastic, kind of bulky, like blonde hair. He always wears a red bandana. Normally based out of Asia, but now because of COVID, he's here in America. And he was down. Where was he? He was in Texas, in Houston, trying out different Tex-Mex joints. And okay, traditionally, I'm not a Tex-Mex fan. Like Tex-Mex and I don't normally get along very well. And he was eating at this place. He was eating chili con queso. And I was like, oh my gosh, that actually looks really good. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go run out to the grocery store and make some chili con queso, right? So there was the choice: Tostitos, jarred chili queso in a jar. I could just buy that. Or I could go all out and like get some jalapenos and get some Velveeta and get some chili, like buy some ground beef and make some chili. So I made some chili. I found this place at the grocery store. They had this Texas style chili from this company. And I was like, all right. So basically it was just the spice mix. So you put the spice mix in with your meat, the beef, and then you cook and you just let it sit there and so I let it cook for like an hour and made the queso sauce, just simple Velveeta, milk, crushed, chopped jalapenos. That's it. Not too bad. And then they had this. I saw this bag of Tostitos, right? Normally, I like to make my own totopos. You take the corn tortillas, you cut them into triangles, and you deep fry them. But I was like, you know what? Let me do this. Let me try this. The ground corn Tostito type. So they had that yellow corn one that's all kind of like slightly coarse. So I got a bag of that, and I sat here after I made everything and made my own chile con queso, and it was the chili wasn't bad. You know what's the spice mix? I don't remember the name. It's in a little red box. I wish I could remember the name, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But and overall, like there's a thing. There's that thing. The Velveeta. The Velveeta is, gosh, there's nothing probably more American than Velveeta cheese. And it's melted, and you're eating it. You're mixing it in with the chili, not chili, and you're eating it with like chips, and like I didn't, it was good. Like it was nicely made. The chili was nicely done. It was actually pretty good chili. And the Velveeta queso as well. It's Velveeta with milk, and what Velveeta tastes like. But man, I just didn't feel correct like the rest of the day. Like I had that for lunch, and I had that, and I was pretty like full. I wasn't really feeling like eating anything like the rest of the night. Like from like 1 p.m., 2 p.m. until late night, I was like, oh my gosh, like the idea was good, but Tex-Mex, oh my gosh, yeah, the aftertaste of Velveeta, it's interesting. It's just yeah. Well, I don't know. Just it wasn't. So I've got more. Like they didn't have the small. They didn't have the small thing of Velveeta. They only had the big one, the 32 ounce. So I was like, well, I was kind of pressed to buy it, and so I've got a half Velveeta left, and I still have like a pint of the queso left, and I've got 2 quarts. No. I got half a pint of sauce of the queso. I got 1 pint of the queso, the chili left. So I was thinking, my original thought was, okay, I'm just going to take the chili and put it into a pot, add water, increase the volume of liquid, add a bunch of macaroni, cook that all down, and then add the queso in at the very end, so some cheesy chili mac. But after yesterday's meal, like, I don't know when I'm going to be ready to have like that Velveeta cheesy thing again. Like, I need time away from it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But now I've got all of this I got all of this product now, and I don't want to throw it away. I probably should throw it away. I can't say that I wasn't. Maybe I was high. Maybe I was just, some kind of like insulin, like, I don't know, craziness. Oh, Ravens field goal. Are Ravens playing tonight? What? I haven't really followed the Ravens so close this year. Oh, yeah, Ravens field goal, 3-0. Excellent. Thanks for keeping us in the loop there, Rusty. Di. Perfect. Remember the 1 gallon can of queso? Costco had a 1 gallon can. Okay, that's the number 10 cans. Oh yeah, that's just nasty. That's nasty. But there's something to the nacho cheese thing, right? Those round tortilla chips that you get like at the roller rink back in the day. No. All right, now we've talked a lot about this queso thing, which was, oh my gosh, queso and coffee. Now time to get to our cigar. Of course, our cigar we bought at the Tobacco Leaf in Jessup. And as always, paid full tilt for it. $13 for this cigar, $13. And this is the M.X.S. Adrian Gonzalez. And to be honest, when I bought this, I had no idea what that was all about. I thought Adrian Gonzalez, I thought that's just the name of the producer, right? But turns out that Adrian Gonzalez is a first base he plays first base or used to play first base for the LA Dodgers in baseball. I don't know anything about baseball. Like there's the Ravens, there's the Orioles, and there's the Yankees and the Red Sox. That's really all that I know. The players, man, if you're not Jim Palmer or Rick Dempsey or Mark Belanger or those guys from that era, Frank Robinson, I don't know. I don't really know anything. Ripken, sure. So this is the Adrian Gonzalez M.X.S. It's called the M.X.S. Let me get it out of this kind of crunchy looking wrapper here. Uh-oh. Will it zoom? Will it lock? No. Silly camera. I thought about the Cheese Whiz, but I thought Velveeta would be more accurate. I wish I had the small one. So Adrian Gonzalez is a big ex-baseball player. Yes. Evidently, he's really into business. I don't know, Cheese Whiz or Velveeta. Well, I guess I would say I can't say one is necessarily more American than the other. They're probably as equally ubiquitous in the American cuisine. Here's something. I just took the wrapper off of this, right? As I pulled it off, there was a nice aroma that wafted across my nose. So it's a light manure barnyard. Oh, George, how you doing, George? Good to see you. Yes, he played first base. Pretty decent from what I remember. Several baseball players have cigars named for them. Yes. But evidently, from what little I've read about it, Adrian Gonzalez is a cigar guy. Like he's into it. And so he's working with Ace Prime in some fashion to make his own cigars. So I think he's a little bit more involved than the typical, like, let's say Ray Lewis is with Rocky Patel. It's basically Ray letting him do. I'm sure he approves the blend, but I don't think he's involved in the blending, right? But maybe the guys at blah 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 from Half Leaf can tell us more. So Ace Prime, again, we're back with Ace Prime. They were just here a couple weeks ago. Going to launch cigars with partners with NBA players Dominique Wilkins and Thiago Splitter. That hasn't happened yet. Distribution agreement with Crown Heads. Oh, I guess so. Here it is. Announced the third release for the M.X.S line, the name given to these partnerships. So I guess the M.X.S is their partnership name. The new cigar being made with Adrian Gonzalez, a first baseman and overall pick of the 2000 Major League MLB draft, 15-year career, All-Star 5 times, 4 Golden Gloves, and 2 Silver Sluggers. Oh, nice. With the Rangers, Padres, Red Sox, Dodgers, and New York Mets. I wonder what M.X.S means. Oh, there it is. M.X.S, or Mexicans. Maybe it means Mexican San Andres. Ace Prime and Gonzalez worked on the blend for 6 months. Oh, they used the El Titan name, a reference to one of his nicknames as a player. And it's produced by Tabacalera Pichardo and Esteli. So same as the other cigar that we had, which was the Fiat Lux last week's cigar. I guess they're both made at the same place, which is okay. That's interesting. So Tony says the Fiat Lux Insight, which is the Corona Gorda, was very good. Oh, okay, good. Maybe I'll have to try that, find that again. So there's a nice, pleasant aroma coming from the cigar. I think the exterior wrapper does have a pleasant, attractive aroma. And the wrapper, can we see this? Well, there we go. The wrapper, look at that. It almost kind of has a barber pole effect here, right? I don't believe that that's intentional. I think that's just a natural condition of the leaf. But it's kind of interesting, a real subtle kind of look. But nice. It actually is seems quite nice. All right, time to cut it out. And we're back with our Xikar MTX cutter. It was just kind of hiding out last week. So here we are. We're going to cut. This is like the most exciting part of the stream. Will I get the cut nice? Oh, a little bit uneven, I think. How's that look? How's that look to you? Pretty good, pretty good. There's a light sweetness. It's pleasant, very interesting, very intriguing. All right, let's go to the light. We're going to light it with our torch here. Give it a little roasting of the tip. All right, starting off pretty good. Light, spicy. Good amount of smoke, you know, a good draw. Like the draw is a little bit tight, but not bad. So like I said before, it's made at Tabacalera Pichardo in Esteli, Nicaragua. And it's using maybe the M.X.S. It's called M.X.S, right? M.X.S. M.X.S, right? And so it's using a Mexican San Andres wrapper that maybe that's what the M.X.S is for. Maybe that's what that's for. I'm not really sure exactly what the M.X.S means. But it's a Mexican San Andres wrapper with Nicaraguan binder and Nicaraguan and Peruvian fillers. This one, which one is this one? This is the El Titan. Well, there's only one. It's 6.5 by 50. 6.5. Come on, there we go. 6.5 by 50. Toro size. Released it was released a year ago, actually, it turns out. And it's priced, their MSRP is $12.50. I think mine was like $13, $14. And a little bit dry on the finish. There's a little bit of tightness in the draw, but just enough to, it's not like you're pulling hard on it. It's pulling relatively easy, but it's definitely a snug kind of draw. So Brian says American cheese is only 13% of total cheese sales in America. We're becoming more sophisticated as American cheese sales decline 1.5% per year. Well, that's a good thing. But you know what? Here's the thing. For me personally, and when it comes to burgers, I prefer the American cheese. The sliced American cheese on a burger, to me, is the best way to go. Like, yeah, a lot of people like that cheddar, and you know, but cheddar has that hardness to it, right? That waxiness. I don't like that. It doesn't have that meltiness. Blue cheese, same thing. Maybe the Monterey Jack, but it's got that sharpness to it. I just want that cheesy goodness, right? That like gooey cheesiness on a burger. Other stuff, you like with my baguette, I certainly don't want American cheese on my baguette. I'm not an animal after all. Actually, I was at the grocery store today. They had some truffle pate. And I was like, oh, truffle pate. I haven't had that in a long time. Maybe I should get me some truffle pate. So I thought about it, but I really like truffle pate with pumpernickel. They didn't have pumpernickel. I was like, forget it then. Forget it. We used to go to the Owings Mills Macy's. So there used to be a Macy's at Owings Mills Mall. Upstairs, they had their like gourmet food section. We would go there, get a loaf of pumpernickel, some truffle pate. You know, brie. We're 18 years old, so brie was like super like chic. Like we're like, oh, we'll have brie, and we go have a picnic, and it was great times. There's something that's different. There's something that's more enjoyable about being young and pretentious than being old and pretentious. And Di says the consumption is because of the cheese bar at Wegmans. The cheese bar at Wegmans, you know, I got to give respect to Wegmans. They do have a nice cheese bar. I do enjoy getting there's a cheese called the Willoughby that Jasper Creamery makes called the Willoughby. I really like that one. It's a soft cheese. I tend to prefer soft cheeses rather than hard for, All right, ready for cigars and coffee? Cheese puns, but there's always time for that. Pilgrims put Colby on their burgers. Who does that? It's just wrong. That's wrong. Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, that's one thing I've never really done very well, like the grilled cheese. I haven't quite mastered the grill, but I never really spent a lot of time making grilled cheese. My brother was much more into grilled cheese. Like, for me, grilled cheese was good. It was cool, but if it didn't have a burger between it, what do I... Give me a patty melt, for God's sake. Besides, most American cheese, here's the thing, though. It says it in your post, it says this: it's American. That's all you need to know. If it comes to burger, which is American, it should have the American cheese. There it is. Done. Doesn't matter if there's real cheese or not. It's American. And if you're eating these burgers that don't have American cheese, you know, you're just eating imposters. They're just imposters. And here's the thing. You go to other countries. This is the truth, right? Like, you go to a lot of other countries, man, and they have burgers, right? And they have burgers that are supposed to be like American style, like burgers. Man, like pretty much when I leave America, I don't eat burgers. Like I try not to eat burgers because, you know, we here in America, we have a certain level of beef. There's a certain beef that we use. And there's a certain way we grind the burger. Man, most countries, they grind it really fine. So it's the texture is completely like wrong. It's wrong. It's just wrong. It's like not, if you're making American burgers, American style burger, I don't know. Next week we'll pray. Oh, okay, good idea. Good idea. But yeah, burgers in other countries. Like, really, I don't buy burgers. Like the last time I was in Manila, over 2 years ago, you know, I try not. I've had the burgers there many times from like different companies there, and like, oh man, every time I go there, I'm like, why am I eating this burger? So one of my friends, like, I'm in town, and they call me up. They're like, hey, you're in town? Yeah, man. Let's get together. We'll take you out to dinner. All right, whatever. Where do you want to go? I said, well, wherever you want to go is fine with me. And they're like, so they pick me up, and they're like, all right, we're going to go to Shake Shack. They just opened a new Shake Shack. And I was like, oh, mother of God. I did not fly around did I just fly around the world to go eat at Shake Shack? Damn it. That was a disappointment. I mean, and your Shake Shack is good, right? And so the burgers, Shake Shack burgers in the Philippines, in Asia, are actually pretty good. They're pretty authentic to America. But I did not fly around the world to go to Shake Shack. The last thing I want to do is eat American places. It was like the last time I was in Saudi Arabia. One of my good friends, one of my really close friends, she's like, it's my birthday. I want to go out to dinner. All right. I'll take you anywhere you want to go. And I was like, so it's your birthday. What do you want to go for dinner? She's like, I want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings. I was like, oh my God. You know, and so she lives in Dubai and she's originally from Brazil. So she's not American, right? So Buffalo Wild Wings are, pretty, I guess really enjoyable. And they're not bad, but like we're in Saudi Arabia. All kinds of great foods in Saudi, right? But she lives in the Middle East. So she's probably like, I've had enough of kebab. She's like, kebab is enough. So she wants American. So I was like, all right, let's go there as you wish. And like, man, that's the only time I ever go to American joints when I'm on the road is when somebody else drags me there. And so that same trip, she's like, the next day, she's like, can we go somewhere else? And I was like, where do you want to go? She's like, cheesecake. Like, oh my God. Oh, God. Crazy. Oh, okay, so Rusty's true. Okay, this is you are correct. Actually, the reality is that the McDonald's outside of the United States is typically better than the McDonald's in the United States. Like, we have here in America, right? And I think, Rusty, you can attest to this. And it's true. I do go to McDonald's. I forgot about that. I kind of blocked it out. I will go to McDonald's. And you go to McDonald's. Like I remember this one time specifically. When you fly into Frankfurt Airport, the Hauptbahnhof, the train station is right beneath the terminal. So if you go down past baggage claim, you go down to sub level. There's a city level, and then on the city level, there's this little like city mall. Or the sub level, there's a city mall, and they've got all these like little food courts, and there's a McDonald's there. And I remember the very first time I was in Frankfurt, I went to the McDonald's and I was like, I think I had been away. Is this when I think I must have just arrived, but I was in the mood for McDonald's. I was coming back from somewhere else. Maybe I was coming back from, I'd been away in Africa and I just flew back into Frankfurt. I was going to be in Frankfurt for a couple of days. So I go there and you know how you see McDonald's, like Big Mac in the pictures, and it's all like, the buns are perfect. You see a little bit of the leaves and the pickles and the sauce. It looks all like delicious. You're like, oh my God, that looks really amazing. But here in America, it's all like mushy and all like fucked up. And so I get this one in Frankfurt at the airport, and by gosh darn, if it wasn't one of the most perfect Big Macs I've ever had in my entire life. Like, it was perfect Big Mac. It's like whenever I go outside the US, man, there it is. The bun is warm, the meat is hot, and then the lettuce is cold. You're like, man, how come burgers aren't like this in America? Now, this is our home country. This is our home team, our hometown, and we still can't get it right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that just fell onto my microphone. Damn it. So it doesn't hold together very well. It just falls off on the tabletop. That is not happy. Excuse me while I do some maintenance here. Di says there's an Instagram of Big Macs of the world. Ooh. But it's interesting. You go to like other countries and they have different like foods. Like the last time I was in Saarbrücken, I was on the way to Saarbrücken in Germany, and I'd flown in from Riyadh, and I was going to go to Saarbrücken. So I rented a car, drove to Saarbrücken, About halfway there, I'm like, man, I'm kind of hungry. So I swung into McDonald's, and there it was in Germany. McDonald's, they got these like different type of like, I think it was a burger with like an egg or a patty, like a sausage patty with egg burger, and that's good. Or the shrimp burger in Japan. Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. The Di wants to know, have you made it to Jollibee in Wheaton yet? I did. I went there the same day that I went to the Ugandan embassy. So beginning of October, I was down at the embassy, and I was like, you know what? Let me go swing by there, check it out. And I happened to roll into Jollibee like at maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or maybe it was at 2 o'clock, or maybe it was 4. I don't remember. Somewhere right around there. It wasn't dinner, and it wasn't lunch. And like there was nobody in line. Like I was just all by myself. I was like, oh, hello. I'd like some chicken and a bucket of chicken to take home with me. So I brought home a bucket of chicken with me. Now, I had never really been a big Jollibee fan. And if you're not familiar with Jollibee is like the McDonald's of the Philippines. It's so popular in the Philippines. Like McDonald's cannot compete with them. Like they still blow McDonald's away. For as awesome as McDonald's is in America and around the world, they just can't beat it. They just can't match it. They can't beat Jollibee. So Jollibee's big thing is like their burgers, but their burgers to me, especially when I was younger, I tried the burgers and I was like, oh, this is not too much for me because I like American style burgers, and their burgers have a little more mealiness to the meat, right? The meat again, texture, and then there's a sweetness to it that I'm just not down with. But their big thing is, of course, is not just their burgers, but their spaghetti and their fried chicken. So spaghetti's really big, fried chicken massive, and so a few years ago I was in Manila. Again, judging competition. Some of my judges came in from Singapore. And so Jollibee's kind of got a bunch of locations outside the Philippines, across Asia and other places. And so my guys from Singapore, they're like, can we go to Jollibee? I was like, what? I was like, I don't normally go to Jollibee. But they're like, we want to check out the chicken. They wanted to know if the chicken, what they call chicken joy at Jollibee, if the chicken joy in the Philippines is different or better than the chicken joy in Singapore. And I was like, what? All right. So I went with them, and yeah, man, the chicken's darn good. I was like, oh, okay, I'm all about this chicken. I'm all into it now. I was never into it before, but suddenly I was like, oh, okay, I'm all into it. It's different than Popeyes, but it's quite good. So we go to so I'm there. We went to Jollibee. They wanted to go to Jollibee like 4 times in the week that we were together. I was like, oh, okay, right on. I like the chicken joy. Let's have some more. So I flew back to LA after that trip. I was in LA after that. I told my friend, hey, man, let's go to Jollibee. I want to see what the difference is in Jollibee America versus Jollibee Philippines. And I think the Jollibee, because I had just had it like the day before, right? So the idea of the flavor of Jollibee Philippines is fresh in my mind. Now, of course, the big thing is that there's going to be differences off the bat just because the quality of chicken is different, right? Here in America, our chickens are all fat and like lazy, and they haven't done anything for like the 4 weeks that we've pumped them up with like steroids and feed. Whereas chickens in the Philippines or in other parts of actually external of the United States are typically like actually grown, and they're maybe a month or 2 old, 2 or 3 months old, or whatever but they've been living and like walking. So there's actually a textural and flavor difference in the basic meat, because like you go to other parts of the world, and like, we have chickens like our roasters, man. We're like big, thick, like you get that Purdue, man. That Purdue is some big chicken, right? Man, it's like a turkey compared to other countries. So you get the chickens in other parts of the world, and they look, compared to American chickens, look kind of anemic. But really, they're just chicken. So there is a difference. And I actually like the flavor of the Philippine version better than the American. So finally, when they opened this one here less than a year ago, or maybe a year ago, I did get some. And it's the same. And one of the things that I was curious to see that I didn't remember from when I was in LA was that the way they butcher, right? So here in the United States, we butcher chicken, for example. Let's say like the thigh, right? The thigh, we have the bone, the big bone, right? And that's connected to the part that has the oyster, right? That whole, like that T-bone kind of piece, right? And so whenever we actually will, and at times in America, the butchery that we will separate, we actually separate the whole bone away from the T part, right? In Philippine butchery, they actually cut it right here. So you get the part that has the oyster and then a stub of the bone it's really it's a different way of doing it. I was kind of curious. I was thinking, well, maybe they just use this American cuts here, but actually here in the United States, at least the ones here, they actually had the Philippine style butchery. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. And that says banana ketchup. That's why their spaghetti so sweet. Oh, yeah. The banana ketchup, again, that's something that's kind of growing on me. In France, poulet rôti uses chickens 3.5 to 4 pounds. You go to most U.S. supermarkets, the whole chicken starts at 6. Yeah, it's crazy to say, right? But what do we get for $5 at Costco? You get that 6-pound chicken. Can't beat it. I do want to try the breast, the chicken from breast, and the black chicken they have there in France. Ooh, I'm so curious. That's the thing. I haven't been back to France in like a long time. Like I've been to France a bit. Like every time I'm in Saarbrücken, I'll go to France. But I haven't been to Paris in a while. It's been a while. It's been a long time now. I'm kind of missing it. Like I see those French rotisserie places where they have the rotisserie chicken in the window. Or the butchery where you have the butchers, like they have all the chickens in the window, all like on ice. There's the chicken, like that breast chicken that's like $30. It's like, oh, I just don't have a place to cook. That's what we need, man. We need that. And that's the problem. You stay at a hotel. Yeah, I could go to the butchery and buy that breast chicken for 30 pounds, 30 euro. But I got no place to cook it. What am I going to do with it? What I need to do is convince my friend to let me come cook at her place. Just call her up, Hetty. I got dinner. I'll bring the chicken. So this cigar, we're kind of passing the first third. The first third was not bad. Now that we're getting into the second third, actually, it's kind of nice. Nice spiciness, a nice round, full-bodied, a nice rounded body. Maybe not full, medium plus body. Enjoyable, but very enjoyable. Oh, a balance-free credit card. Yeah. The Tums, I never had any problem. I never had any trouble in Paris with that. But I went to my first trip to Paris was 2008, and I had heard about this place called L'Arpège. And I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go to L'Arpège." So I called up L'Arpège, and I was like, "Can I get a reservation?" They're like, "Yeah, come on out." All right, excellent. So I went to L'Arpège, and I had this great meal. I had this grand meal. It was grand, like multi-course tasting dinners. Then they had the break where they rolled out the big cart that had the wheel of Comte cheese, and they would cut out the cheese and cut out all this stuff and give you more. And I was like, it was rather filling. However, it was also Alain Passard's restaurant. At that time, I don't know if he's still doing the thing, but Alain was very much into like vegetables. I didn't really know this. And so you could have one course of homard or lobster. So I did opt for that. And, had some wine with it. But you know, this multi-course tasting meal of vegetable. You know, I like meat, so I'm just like a little bit like, what? There's no meat? What is this all about? But like, I tell you what, I was there in February 2008. That meal, it took me until May to pay for that meal. After that, so I charged on my credit card. And this is why you were talking about that. I laugh when you talk about that, you know, having the free credit card. Was, man, that meal cost $800 after the conversion. I was like, holy, because it was 2008. So it was one of the worst times as far as American dollar to euros. I was like, oh, mother of God, that's just craziness. So I paid for that until May. But the interesting thing is, like, you know, people, like, one of the worst meals I've had, like one of the most, maybe not worst, but definitely one of the most disappointing meals I ever had was in Paris in the very first night. So I flew into Paris like on a Monday night. I was actually in Moscow. So I flew from Moscow to Paris. And I got in the evening, like early evening, not too late. But it's a Monday night, so nothing's really open. And so near my hotel I was staying in a place in the 7th. And the 7th is rather posh kind of area. I was in a Best Western, so it was very, very cheap and, you know, very modest kind of accommodation. But being a Monday night, there wasn't many people out. So I had to, I was looking for a place to eat. Not too many places open. So I found this rugby restaurant, like a pub, a rugby themed pub. And I went to this place and they had steak frites. I ordered steak frites because I figured, oh, France, steak frites. Man, it was terrible. It was like frozen steaks from like some kind of like cheap purveyor, like, you know, like a Cisco kind of thing. And the fries were just sad and everything was just sad about this meal. I was like, and that was my very first meal in France. I was like, terrible, terrible. So Rusty says, Chef's Table, France has an episode with Alain Passard. It shows how he turned his 3 Michelin stars and the food be. Well, he had the 3 stars when I was there. I think he had 3 stars. I just know he had the reputation. Maybe he didn't have the stars, but it was good. It was good. It was good. But $800 for vegetables, man, that was just craziness. Crazy. But Paris, lots of great places to eat. And I'm sure it's changed a lot since I've been there. But just in this little area, the 7th, right? There's Alain Passard is kind of close to that. I think he's actually in the 6th, which is the next arrondissement next to it. But in the 7th, there's a place called Café Constant and fantastic bistro. Like I went to eat there one day. There's a place, just up the street from my hotel was a place, a Basque place. That was excellent. Amazing, but really tight. Like, you know, like here in America, like, you know, there's space between the 2 tops. There's no space between the 2 tops in this restaurant. Like in order to get into the banquette seat, you have to like pull the table out and then sit down and then pull the table back in. But that was excellent. What is the name of that place? Let us see. I'll look it up here. Boom. These are some of my favorite places to eat there. Is this it? Yes, Chez La Maison. So this is the Basque kind of place. Man, it was excellent. The one that's really tight. That was really good. Over here is Café Constant. Oh, it's permanently closed. Oh, yeah. That's just disappointing. Oh, here's Arpège. Arpège is here. So I stayed at this place right here on this. There's a little restaurant. There's a little hotel. At the time when I first went there in 2008, it was called the Best Western. Now it's called the Hotel 7 Eiffel. And actually, I was there when I was there in 2010. They had just converted it, and so it's really nice boutique now. Oh, it's $106. That's a great deal. That is a killer deal. If you want to go to Paris and stay at a great place, like a really nice boutique hotel that's really small, well situated, man, $106. That's really stellar. Like the last time I stayed there, it was like 200 something, I think. But as you can see here, there's a place called Le Crepuscule. Like this actually used to be a Korean restaurant, and like I had been to Paris, and usually I stay at this hotel when in my previous trips I've always stayed at the same hotel. Twice when it was the Best Western, and then the last time when it became this boutique. And so this place, Rec Crepuscule, used to be a Korean restaurant. So after going there so many times and eating pretty much like I wouldn't go there, I didn't go there the first 2 trips. But finally on my 3rd trip there, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this place. So after my girlfriend left and went back to her home country at the time, I went to this place and I was going to try their bibimbap. Man, it was really good, like super fresh. Like that's the thing about French, like food in France. That most places that are doing good, it's very, very good. Like it's really well done. The ingredients are super well sourced, super fresh, just super vibrant. Like the bibimbap was definitely better than anything I've had in America. And then Rusty says, if I went, I would want to have a room in the kitchen. So instead of eating out every meal, I want to cook something. Yeah, that's the one thing about like this Hotel 7. I feel like it's awesome. It's an awesome place. You want to bring your significant other and have a time. There's a rooftop like deck. You can sit out there. It looks like awesome, but there's no place to cook. No place to cook. And here's the thing. So like this area's got really nice like apartments and places to live. And I'm sure there must be Airbnbs, but you know what? Here's the thing. So like a lot of them have multiple floors. And God knows if you don't want one of those that you're like on the 4th floor with this view, but there's no elevator. So if you're going to do the Airbnb, make sure there's the elevator. This other one here, Bistro Chez France. I think this is the same one, or maybe it changed. They had a really good, I went there one day and I had this really wonderful Blanquette du Veau. Oh my God. Then down here, where is it? I can't believe that I didn't. Maybe they changed. Maybe. Oh no, that was it. The Love Juice Bar. It used to be I wonder if it still is. It used to be oh no, it's still there. Excellent. This place here, this little place. Oh, it's also closed. Damn it. This place, Delices de Mimi, their almond croissants, awesome. But all gone. Man, everything is closed. Everything is gone. My parish is no longer. But what else is good here? Like, Paris, what I recommend. I didn't mark it here, did I? So I also went to a place here. Here it is. I went to Pierre Garnier's place. Wrong part of Champs-Élysées. This place, excellent. Like we went there for lunch And just wonderful, wonderful food, wonderful, everything's wonderful about it. Definitely worth going to. Pierre Gagnier, and then also what else is good? And so since we're talking about cigars, let me, God, I hope it's still there. Here it is. Oh no, that's Las du Falafel. This is pretty good too. Las du Falafel. If you like falafels, this is in the Marais, and that's pretty good. Oh, here it is. This is my favorite, one of my favorite joints. And I'll be honest, I got this joint from Bourdain. He talked about it. He went there, and so I was like, "This looks awesome." So I went to this place, and this is my very first trip I went there. And so I arrived, like I said, I arrived there in February 2008, and the smoking ban had just gone into effect the month before, so it's brand new. And so there's smoking ban, so you have to smoke outside, and there's only a couple places in the city you can actually smoke cigars. So in Paris, you eat late. People eat late compared to America. So I wanted to try this place, and one of the big things they do this entrecôte. So big beef, and they cook it in a fireplace. Like maybe there's a picture of it here. There must be a picture of it somewhere here. Oh, look at that! There it is. Look at that. Ooh. So can you see? Nobody shows pictures of the fireplace. Let's look. Look at that. Look at the potatoes, the roasted potatoes. So this is actually in the fireplace. There's a fireplace they're cooking in. Oh, that doesn't look like the fireplace. So there's the bar. Yeah, they're cooking in the fireplace. You can see they have a plancha set up above the fire. And so you're sitting there. And then there's some charcuterie. Yeah, that's a better shot of it. Oh, you know what? Maybe. Let me see something here that maybe I have some. Robert Louis. Yes. All right, let me come back here. Let me just see if I can pull up this. No, it's not showing us that. All right, we'll go back to that. Never mind. Well, let's go to this one here and let's see if that'll work. Okay, so is that showing you what I'm seeing? Sorry, give me just a second here to figure out how to do this correctly. No, that's worse. Okay, there we go. Better. A little bit better. Unless I can make it smaller. Oh, no, that's not going to change it. All right, that's probably the best that I can do. There we go. That's probably best. All right, so now we've got it here. All right, that's the menu. So as you can see, here's the hearth, right? So that's the hearth. So I got some sausage, some merguez, charred over the fire. There's some breads. And here comes, what is that, chicken? Some salad. The bill. But here's the thing. So that was the first, I guess I went there multiple times. So yeah, here's another trip. Some shrimp, roasted potatoes, the entrecote. Here we go. So this is the night I went to there and I was having the entrecote. I got there pretty late, maybe 10 o'clock or so. Because then, you eat, French eat a little bit later in the evening, right? So I want to go after most of them go in. So I have a better chance of getting a seat. And, oh yeah. Good thing you ate. Oh, then Brian's asking, how's a cigar? Cigar is actually going very nicely. Very, very nicely. Very enjoyable. Good flavor. Nice flavor. Nice balance. I mean, this is good. This is good. This is good. This is enjoyable. All right, so let's go back to that. So we're going to show, oops. So there's entrecote, right? This is where it's not really the food necessarily. So there's oh, what? Isn't that the time? Maybe it was the other trip. Okay, so here it is. This is my later trip. So here they use a coffee grinder to crack your pepper. So sitting there, there's my entrecote. That's all I could eat. I couldn't get anymore. I was just completely. This is the Côte de Boeuf for two, and just too much to eat. Too much to eat. You see, I couldn't finish any of it. A little bit of potatoes left. So as I'm sitting there, it's now well past 11, and here's some of the views. So I'm sitting there, and the host, who I think is the owner, comes up to me and she's like, I just wanted to let you know that we're closed. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What was I? Do you need me to leave? And she's like, no, not really. I just wanted to let you know that if it's, we're closed now, it's after hours. And if it's okay with you, some of the regulars who are going to stay wanted to smoke. And just wanted to let you know that. I was like, I already had the bill, right? I already had the bill. Where is it? I already had the bill. What, did I show you the bill? Where's the bill? Did I have the bill here? No, I guess not. So I already had the bill in here. I was ready to call for the bill, right? And she's like telling me they're going to close and they're going to smoke. They're going to smoke cigarettes. I said, well, can I smoke too? If I stay, can I smoke? And she's like, yes, of course. I was like, oh my gosh. Well, then bring me some more beer. And there it is. And I didn't have cigars because there's no place to smoke. So I didn't have like cigars with me. All I had was this pack of Monte Cristo minis. And so I sat there for at least another hour and smoked away with my Casa Fuente matches and had a grand old time there. So yeah. So definitely I think, Robert Louis, well worth going to. Excellent. Let's go back to it. Let's go back together with them. But the cigar is doing very nicely, very nicely. I'm really, really enjoying it, actually. Like I'm talking a lot about, these travels and food and all this, but really I'm finding the cigar really is enjoyable. It's not like that one cigar not too long ago where it was really kind of a chore to smoke. This has got good flavor, good complexity. Like I'm not really thinking even too much about it. It's just enjoyable. Medium, full-bodied. Let's see, what else do we have? I mean, there's some pepperiness, some nuttiness, a good amount of earthiness. What is it? I don't want to say that there's anything that's really like dominant. Like some cigars, very dominant with the black pepper, or maybe dominant with cinnamon or cedar, something like that. This cigar is not like that. This cigar is just really well balanced. I want to describe it as a beautiful balance. It's really like here in the second third, It's super enjoyable right now. I'm really enjoying it, which allows me to talk about everything else because I'm not really sitting here thinking, my God, I just got to get through this, which sometimes does happen. So Rusty says, all this talk about cheese made me hungry, so I just... with American cheese, I imagine. Tony only makes it with bacon. Every city you travel to, domestic, or do you also scope out? I do tend out to look for nice places for smoking if I can, right? So for example, let me, oops, go back to this. Switching between screens is not quite easy. Okay, so if we pull out of France, there's a way to look at this from my lists. I don't know how over here. Menu, your places. Here we are. Cigar joints. So I'm a little bit slow in getting this. What is that? I don't know why that's there. Okay. Oh, here we are. So I've noted here, like Frankfurt. Oh, that's food. Most of them are food, I guess. Colio Donor, forget that. That's not it. But yes, there's a couple places like there's a place in there's a La Casa del Habano. Here it is, Vabajo Cigar Lounge. Whoops. Gotta save that. But yes, this is Vabajo Cigar Lounge. The last time I was in 2 years ago when I was there last, this was an excellent place to go. Like they just had released the Trinidad Media Luna, and I had one of those there, and it's excellent. So really nicely, it was pretty new in 2019 when I was there. So really pretty interior. This is upstairs. And then it's inside the humidor is here. So really well laid out. So this is the interior of the humidor. This is the exterior of the humidor, where they have some select liquors and stuff like that. As you can see, more liquors here. This is the interior of the humidor again. Really nice selection. Of course, all Cubans. Really nice stuff, you know. And downstairs is, here we are. So you go downstairs to their private lounge, and it's like a cave underneath the building. Like they dug it out of, it looks like they dug it out of like the rock. And, this is, so it's got velvet banquette seating. And do they have any other images of the, yeah, here we are. So this reflection here is actually a bar. So it's kind of a wedge shaped space. There's a big exhaust up here above the bar in the corner. So it does have to move. So it's not exactly perfectly efficient. But I sat here the one night that I was there, had a wonderful time. Really nice, good mixed drinks, everything you want. Here's another view of the lounge from the seat. I guess where this guy was sitting, that's his, that's probably him. The cigar prices at this place at Vabajo, it wasn't, it's not terrible. It's not like going to London. London is, The price of like cigars in London is shocking, shocking. And then, of course, in the other parts of here it is. This is another one. So here in Saarbrücken, I've been, and I go here quite a bit. I'm going to put this in my cigar joints as well. Dele is it's owned by Sully, and you know he's right here in downtown Saarbrücken. So it's really nice to go this time of year because you know you walk into this. This is like kind of their square area. So all through this area here during the Christmas season, they have the Saarbrücken Christmas market. So it's really, really a nice place to go in the wintertime because, or at least the end of the year, because they've got the Christmas market, and that's just always excellent. And then Brian said the bar prices weren't bad either. You know, I mean, I didn't go to these places and think that they were expensive. Now, when you go to places like Wellesley, the Wellesley Hotel has a cigar garden in the front. So it's here in Knightsbridge, right on Knightsbridge. So I happened to be in London one year, and my cousin who lives outside of London, I called him up and said, "Hey, man, I'm coming to town. Let's hang out." And he's like, "All right." He's like, "Hey, you know what? Let me get you a hotel." I was like, "You don't have to do that, man. That's not necessary." And he's like, no. I'm going to get you a hotel. So he reserves me a place in Earl's Court. So we meet up and we go there. He's like, I'm gonna come crash with you as well. So he got both of us a room at this place in Earl's Court. And this place, what a slum hole this place was. I mean, you know, I've slept in some pretty strange places, but very few have I actually been scared to stay in. Like, it looked like a crack house. I mean, it was terrible. And my cousin arrives, and he was so embarrassed. Like, he was super embarrassed. And it cost like 90 quid for each room. He got 2 rooms. So he's in for 180 quid. And he's, after a while, and I honestly, like, I would not have stayed there. But you know what? He paid for it, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to embarrass him, so I'm good. I'll tough it out. And man, you know, he was so embarrassed, poor guy. And he was like, but he was super great. He's like, no, we have to go somewhere else. I have to get you another place. So he finds this other hotel, also in Earl's Court. So just kind of around the corner, maybe a block and a half away. Super nice place. Like, this place was like, oh, I was super stoked to stay there. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. You know, 250 quid a night now. So now he's almost into this for like 500 quid. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, so crazy. So I was like, okay, I have to, you know, take him out at least, right? So let's go ahead and get some cigars, right? So we went out and I looked up some places, and they said the Wellesley has a nice garden, cigar garden. And I wonder if they have some photos of it here. So as you can see, there's right here. So this at the entrance, on this side is the cigar garden. And there's actually an interior part where you can smoke cigars. The entryway is really small. Like, this is actually pretty narrow of a space. So you walk in, and there's like a bar area here to the right, and to the left is the cigar bar. And let's see if there's any other photos we can see here from it. Yeah, here's the exterior. So behind this, like, kind of shrubbery is the cigar area. And it's really fancy. Like, it's super, super nice. So here's the entrance to the cigar area. And, you know, we had I forgot exactly, but, you know, we get there and we're looking around and we're looking at the cigars, and I pick up a couple of cigars for us, and we sit down, and they're like, oh, actually, before we sit down, the guy's like, yeah, well, if you're not a hotel guest, there's like what is it, a 50 quid minimum? Or maybe an 80 quid minimum, something like that. Like, I was like, what? I was like, what? Holy sugar. So, you know, and I was like, if it had just been me alone, I would have bailed. I'd be like, hell no, I'm not paying that. That's craziness. No matter how nice it is, I'm not paying, you know, this 80 quid minimum. And I think that was on top, maybe it was 50 quid minimum on top of the cigar price. Or whatever it was. It was dramatically expensive. And I was like, oh no. But now I'm the one that's like, you know, here's my cousin. He's into it for 500 quid already, right? He's already put out 500. And I'm like, now I'm the one that's embarrassed. Like, I can't be the cheap guy and be like, oh no, we can't do that. So I was like, oh, man. So I just suck it up. I was like, show us the way. So we stayed there for a few hours, had a nice time, but man, it was expensive. Like London for cigars is way expensive. Like you go to James Fox, which is nearby. Oops. Right here, James Fox. You go to James Fox. Great cigar merchant, really nice, really friendly staff, nice selection. Mostly Cubans. There's a lovely lounge upstairs where you can sit and like, if you haven't, I know a couple of you guys have been there, but nice place to go. Drinks are there, like soft drinks, coffee. But like I got this one cigar because the last time I was there, I happened to get a layover. Like I had a 12-hour layover at Heathrow. And so I was like, what am I going to do I'm not going to sit in the lounge for 12 hours. That's craziness. So I jumped on the tube, took it down to St. James and went to Fox. And I asked the guy, what kind of country exclusives do you have? And they had this one Cuban country exclusive, you know, for England. 55 quid. I was like, oh my God, crazy. That's craziness. 55 quid. And it was plugged. But, you know, I went to the guy and you know, I probably would have not normally said anything, but like a 55 quid, man, 55 quid, that's a lot of money for a cigar. And if it's not perfect, man, I gotta say something. So I went back and I said, hey man, it's plugged. And he was like, oh. And he took care of it, gave me a new one, no problem. And he's the Latino guy that works there. And he said to me, he's like, I know you must be from America. I said, why do you say that? He's like, because any of the English guys would never have said anything. He's like, we want to know, but you know, they just wouldn't. And I was like, that's crazy. I was like, well, I said, I'm not that crazy. So Rusty asked, did you buy cigars overseas to bring back? Sometimes, not always. Like in the old days, I used to be really into like buying, like let's say Cubans or stuff. And, you know, I would go and during my trips, I'd buy Cubans and bring them back with me. But nowadays, I don't really do any of that. Like if I really want a Cuban, I could probably get one relatively easily, or, you know, like at least get one here. So I don't necessarily worry too much about it. Or also, you know, especially over the last 10, 12 years, I've been traveling, you know, regularly. So if I really want Cubans, I can easily pick them up along the way if I really want them. I tend to find them to be, you know, a little bit inconsistent, and we've got great cigars in America. And so I usually bring my own for a lot of them. But there are times like when I go to Sally's place in Saarbrücken, I'll buy like there's some cigars that he has that I say Roma Craft makes that are only released in Europe. I'll buy some of those cigars and bring them back with me. But the nice thing about going to Sally's place in Saarbrücken is that it's right on the border with France. So you can just drive. It's basically like driving 5 minutes. You're in France already, quite literally 5 minutes, right? And so let me show you here. So like right here, Saarbrücken is here. right? And so you just drive, get back on the freeway here, and then boom, France is right there. So, and it's only like an hour, maybe hour and a half from, where is it? From Reims, Epernay, Champagne. So if you want to go to the Champagne region, it's pretty close. It's like an hour and a half. Like here, it looks kind of long, but really it's an hour and a half. And actually, the last time that not the last time, but one of the times that I was there, I'm in Saarbrücken, and then they had that shooting in Strasbourg, right? So they actually, I went into France one day. I was just driving around, enjoying, just checking and sightseeing. And I'm back on the A320 motorway, right? I'm coming back here, right? So I'm showing you, right? And this is the border crossing, right? And normally you just drive. There's no stop or anything like that because it's all part of the EU. But on this day, after the shooting, they actually shut down the highway and were checking cars going into Germany. So there was a backup like here. And I was like, you know what, man? I'm not going to wait for this backup. I got off the freeway, took the side road, and then I drove into, and then how did I get there? I think I drove over here. Yeah, I drove over here into Germany in the side roads, or no, maybe one of these side roads, and then just made my way back to the hotel. Brian says, I bought 8 Cohiba Siglo 6s. No mention by Fox staff that they had a freaking... Really? They didn't tell you that? Huh. Yeah, I think you probably have to ask. Like I said, hey, I heard you guys have a lounge. Maybe they don't want people staying. I heard they have Churchill's chair, but I think that's actually downstairs, or maybe that's upstairs, or maybe that's downstairs. I don't know. But I forgot about it when I was there last. But the lounge is pretty nice the lounge at Fox here is pretty nice. Let's see, they have. Yeah, so this is looking to the back of the lounge. The last time we looked, there was a big bay window. This is the opposite side of that. So it's relatively spacious and, relatively comfortable. Yeah, so this is looking the other way. And the smoke abatement was pretty decent from what I remember. The one place that I thought had really, really good smoke, smoke removal was the Sheraton Riyadh. Is that it? No. Where's the Sheraton Riyadh? Like, look at this thing. This place, the Sheraton Riyadh, here they are. We went there once, and it's a pretty old building. Like, it looks like it's straight out of the late, maybe 90s, but probably the 80s. Right? Look at that. It's got the, the kind of like Middle Eastern kind of styling, but really it's, they show the bar area. There's a bar area there where you can smoke cigars. And that's not it. That's the lobby. And it's not terribly fancy. It looks pretty nice on the inside. The lounge itself was just okay. I mean, the look of that, the design of it was all right. No one's taking any photos in the lounge. But this lounge had very good ventilation. This is what I really started to figure out, that like, if you have ventilation above the seating areas, exhaust above the seating areas, that's when it starts to really become alive. Yeah, see, here's a guy smoking a cigar, but nothing of the smoking area. Like it's, oh, here, this is definitely in the smoking lounge. The seats are comfortable. I wish somebody took a picture of the lounge itself. You can tell the lounge if see, we've seen a couple of these. This is not the lounge because I'm looking for the registers they have up in the ceiling. And the registers are kind of placed above the seating areas. And then you also see where they've changed it in the ceiling because over the years they've adjusted their exhaust setup. Man, hundreds of pictures, but none of the bar, none of the seating area. They have a place that sells, here, you can kind of see it. Yeah, that's part of the lounge. So it's not bad. It's not bad. It's comfortable. It's pleasant to smoke in. And the smoke abatement's really, really great. I think you can bring your own. They didn't really have like a, there is a little shop in the Sheraton lobby that sells cigars that I did buy a cigar from because I didn't have any with me when we went. But that's, yeah, I think you can bring your own because I'm sure. There's also another place in Riyadh that's supposed to be really, really nice and pricey, but I haven't been there yet because basically I think you have to have the right connections. And while one of my friends is connected enough to go there, he no longer smokes cigars. So getting him to go out to smoke cigars has been a little bit difficult. Another place that I really like for cigar lounges here is called in the Ginza district in Tokyo. This place I think is really quite enjoyable to visit. So as you can see, this out here is the here's the entrance. So the humidor is right here on the right side when you walk in. Nice selection of Cubans, and I think they have some non-Cubans. And then as you can see here, there's a they do that kind of like box seating. In the back of the space is the bar. Actually, this is the center. These red seats are in the center part of the lounge. So there's the humidor and all that accoutrement stuff in the front. This is kind of the center area with the red seats. And then right here is actually a kind of a little portal. And then the bar itself is in the back behind this. And so as you can see, the wide selection of whiskeys and alcohols and really, really nicely done. So very, refined kind of experience, not terribly cheap. Like I don't recall the prices. They weren't actually, every time I've gone with one of my friends and she's always like treating me, which I have to be honest, I'm a little bit thankful for because the places she likes to go are shockingly expensive. Like, but yeah, really. Oh, look, they even have a COVID protection now. But yeah, this is the back lounge, really, or the side lounge. There's the red lounge. There's a side lounge in mid center, and then the back lounge. So it's really well done. Nice ventilation, beautiful bathrooms. Like the bathroom is super like sexy. You're like, whoa, like all like electronic bathroom. Really cool, really cool. But here's the thing about Japan. So the last time we went to Lake Connoisseur, we were unable to stay because we had just gotten there, and they were, for whatever reason, they were closing early. Yeah, it must have been a Saturday night because Saturday night, 11 p.m. Right, so we got there probably around 10:45. So they were like, oh, "I'm afraid you can't. We don't have a place for you to stay." I'm like, "Damn, what are we gonna do?" They're like, "Well, if you go, there's a bar you can go to, and I think it's called Bar MoMA. Is that it?" No, that was not it. Well, it could be. No, it was Brick. Maybe it was Brick. I think it was Brick. We went to Brick, and we could smoke there. And here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing. Like in Japan, you can smoke in most places. Like I typically will smoke cigars in Tokyo, but I usually don't go to I don't usually go to Le Connoisseur. I'll usually just go to my coffee shop, Cafe de l'Hambre. And here you can smoke. You just sit to see there's little smoking things here. Like I just go in there. And I remember a couple years after going there, I was like, I noticed people were smoking, and I was like, and the owner, the founder was a big pipe guy. So I asked the guy Hayashi, I said to him, "Hey man, can I smoke cigars here?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, what? So I smoke cigars there all the time, all the time. So yeah. So that's the interesting about Japan. With Japan, you're not necessarily limited, like in most parts of the world, to smoking. Like smoking tobacco is still very alive and well in Japan. But I think those are some of the places that stick out to me where when you ask about where about smoking cigars, places that I like to go, those are some of the places that I really enjoy. But typically when I go to different countries or for different states, wherever I'm staying, I'm usually looking for places to have a cigar. Mexico City has a couple nice joints. And the interesting thing about Mexico City is that because it's lower, it's closer to the equator than where we are now. But it is a higher altitude. It's like 5,600 feet. It's relatively temperate year round, so it's cool. It's not doesn't get really hot. It doesn't really get cold. It just stays cool. So a lot of the places, a lot of the shops in general, and in turn the cigar bars, are relatively like open air spaces. So it's really kind of enjoyable to smoke there. Now, historically, like in the past, like when I first started smoking, we used to go to a place. We really enjoyed going to a place called the Halekulani. So I lived in Hawaii, right? And at the Halekulani, they have a place called the Lures Lounge. Let's see if we can find it. So they have a lounge. It was at the time it used to be a jazz kind of lounge. They would have live jazz music in a lounge setting. Do they have photos of it still here? I don't know. Like this is one of the more posh hotels in Hawaii. Like it's so expensive, I don't even think of affording to stay there. But at the time, it was really a great place to sit down and have a cigar. And I remember one time when we were there, the food and beverage director came up to us and he was like talking to us, hanging out a bit. He said, "You know what? We want you guys to feel comfortable here. We want to welcome you guys here. We want you to smoke and enjoy yourselves." And I was like, "Well, shit, we're going to come here as much as possible." They don't have anything there, but so there's a lot of nice places to smoke as you travel. Where else is there to go? Most of the places you see here are like eating joints. Oh, you know who else also has nice cigar lounges is I guess I didn't put it down here. Here at Jumeirah Beach. Where is it? No, that's not it. What's Abu Dhabi? Wait a minute. Where am I? Oh, here it is. Dubai Marina. So here's Jumeirah Beach. Where is it? Set it here. Oh, there it is. The La Casa del Habano in Jumeirah Beach. This is quite a nice spot. This is a place where they also have beautiful staff. Like this one girl was from Colombia that one day that I was there. My God, she was gorgeous. But as you can see here, nice interior. There's an interior lounge, but when the weather is really nice, it's really pretty to sit outside. There's an upstairs part of the. No, that's not upstairs. Is that the upstairs? Yeah, that's the upstairs lounge. And then they've got a pretty big selection of cigars. So, of course, since it's an LCDH, it's only Cuba tobacco stuff. Oops. Oh, wait a minute. What am I doing here? I'm not showing it. I'm not even showing it. Sorry, guys. Here it is. This is the La Casa del Habano. So this is the exterior. So you get outdoor seating. So when the weather's nice at night, really pleasant to smoke outside. Then they have, interior lounge. That's the upstairs lounge. And then this is the downstairs main lounge. So, of course, since they were in the middle of the desert, the air conditioning is really, really good. And I remember I don't recall whether or not, I'm sure the exhaust was really well done. Here's the upstairs. And then there's a circle outside. Actually, right here with these green, there's a coffee place, or there's a shop called Batil. And that's really where I was really first introduced to like quality dates and the different varietals of dates. So Batil is all about dates, and man, beautiful. Like dates are really just wonderful stuff. So as you can see, there's a lot of nice spots to smoke around the world. And our cigar is still smoking well. It's still rolling. We're really just I would say we're really just entering the final third. And it's still a solid smoke, interesting, still good, good for holding good attention. Like, this is another really good in smoke, really enjoyable smoke. Like, it's one that you just want to keep smoking. How's our coffee doing? Oh, that's nice. Of course, the coffee has cooled down quite a bit. It's now just, more room temperature, kind of cool, but good flavor. Nice balance. Like, it's a good match to the cigar. Now we're starting to get a little bit of heat on the tongue. So what are you guys smoking tonight? That's why I didn't ask everyone. What are you guys all smoking tonight? And how was it? Antonio, are we still with the Diet Cherry Pepsi? And how did that grilled cheese turn out without the bacon? So back to the, Rusty, you were asking about am I checking out all the cigar worthy places? Typically on my trips, usually, especially even when we're judging, I usually have the nights are usually relatively quiet or light. So I usually find a time to go out in the evenings, have a cigar somewhere, sometimes just outside the hotel. Don't always have to go to find the lounges. Just one Pepsi. Still smoking those cigars from Three Smokes. Oh, where are we now? The Angelinos R. Gordo, that one? Did I like that? You know what I really need to do? I need to make a spreadsheet that holds the data of everything that I smoked, or I really do the ranking. Someone mentioned to me about doing like they did in Top Gear, where they have a leaderboard, they throw it up on the board. Maybe we should start doing that. Maybe after the new year we'll do that. And hot tea, nice. No, hot tea's good. I like hot tea. I've been drinking a lot of this last couple of days. I've been drinking a lot of Red Label tea, that Indian tea. I think it's mostly in Assam. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. As far as like just a straight go-to tea. I think it's what they call a CTC tea, a cut, tear, curl. Oh, the Chinchale. Yes, the Chinchale. Oh, yeah, that was the October 28th show. With the labels, yes. GBD on the outside and ooey gooey in the middle. Nice. Glad to hear it. With magnets, yes. Well, I need to talk to Al then about getting a metal board to like wander around here. Maybe make it just right about that high. Maybe the top 10 will fit here. So we can just kind of throw it. Had a short window early this afternoon. Had a Partaga Sabana Series D number 4. Oh, that's nice. Where'd you get that from? Where are you getting Cubans from? Yeah, the thing for me that I found is that, like, I don't know, everyone talks about this, but I agree with them, is that there's a lot of inconsistency. Like, sometimes you get Cubans that are just stellar. Like, I remember one time Jean-Max and I ordered a box of Monte Cristo number 2s from Vahe Gerard in Geneva. And Vahe's, that's another place. Gerard in Geneva, that's a great place to go. No place really to smoke at Gerard. Let me pull that up here. That's another that's a very worthwhile place. Let me show you this one. In Geneva, Switzerland. So I went here when I was in Milan not Milan, but when we went to Rimini in 2014 for the World Barista Championship, I actually flew into Milan, got in the car, got a car. So I flew overnight from DC, flew into Milan, grabbed the rental car, and then drove. Well, actually, Milan's airport is out here. Like Milan's airport is way far from the city. Drove through Italy, crossed underneath Mont Blanc. I guess I went this way. Oh, wait, what's that? My host. Here. This is where the Chamonix, right? So the Mont Blanc is here. Yeah. So you go under Mont Blanc, which is really kind of cool. Like it's a big tunnel underneath Mont Blanc. Went to Chamonix, through Chamonix, and then all the way over here into Geneva. Went to visit Gerard, and beautiful shop. Like this is definitely one of the nicest shops I've been to. The guy is an absolute fanatic of cigars. He has his own line of cigars that he has made in Nicaragua, very good. Actually, I still have a box of those that I've never opened, but really lovely facility here. No place to really smoke. I imagine that there's some kind of lounge in the hotel. It looks like they've changed the name to the Fairmount Hotel. It used to be one of the Kempinski hotels. So either way, Kempinski, Fairmount, they're all very posh and very nice. Now this scene here, right? This with the louvers, these are the private lockers that he has. And they're all glass door with glass louvers, and they're all kind of in this position. And so this is actually in a separate building, in a separate facility away from the main showroom. And he took me on a tour there. It's what he calls the vault. And he keeps a lot of cigars there for himself, as well for his customers. I guess certain customers will have certain requirements, and he's very much about requirements. Like if you guys know Dave Knopf, he's ordered from them, and Dave's very specific about what he likes. And so he'll tell Vahez, like, this is what I want. I want this particular codes. I want this particular shades. I want them all to match. And the nice thing about Gerard is that he will go through his cigars and custom assemble you a box if you're a taster that discerning. And, when I was there, he was telling me that he had just received a shipment from Cuba Tobacco of 300 boxes. And he says that he goes through all the boxes, opens them all up, looks at all the cigars, makes sure that they're right for him, and then rejects the rest. So I asked him, well, he said, so out of the 300, he kept 85 boxes. The other 215 boxes, he sold off to duty free to sell at the airport. So it's super exquisite stuff. And so we bought this box of Monte Cristo No. 2s. Oh, I'm so glad you like them. They're excellent. He has the best. And so this Monte Cristo box, we split it. So there's 20 a box. I had 10. I sucked those down within 2 weeks, and so did Jean-Max. And we were like, oh my gosh, man, we need to get more. The problem is, when you order from Gerard, at least back then, you get the shipping is $90. So it was like a $400 box of cigars. What I hadn't realized at the time, and I totally forgot about, was that it's $90 for up to 4 boxes. So if you buy 4 boxes, it's still $90 for shipping. So had we been smarter, we would have bought more, but we only bought the one, so it was super expensive. So we wanted to get some more, and so I ended up buying a box for $200 from a place in Spain called Pure Express. And these cigars from Spain, night and day from what we got from Gerard. Like, yeah, just not even after a year of laying them down, still was nowhere near the equivalent of what we got from Gerard. So if you really want something that's exquisite, I think buying from Vahe is really the way to go. But as you can see, so he's really super crazy about it. So Rusty says, during the pandemic, Monte Fortuna was running a sale and free shipping for first-time orders. Oh, Monte Fortuna. I wonder, how are the Ravens doing? We are quarter 3, 3-6. Oh, we're not doing too well. All right, let's look at Monte Fortuna. I'm not familiar with them. Monte Fortuna cigars. So how were those? How are the Cubans that you get from Monte Fortuna? How's their prices? Let's see. Where is it? What did I say it was called? Monte Cristo. Okay, that's irritating. Petite number 2s. Petit Tubo. Petite number 2s. $5 for $111. Oh, that's it. Only $5. Ooh, pricey. Cigars are pricey now. Oh, look at this one. 2 boxes of vintage Monte Cristo Open Juniors. Oh, they must be really small. For $222. Oops. Oh, yeah, ring gauge 38. The one that I was telling you that I had the last time I was in Germany was the Trinidad. Is that right? Trinidad? Oh, no, maybe it's not Trinidad. Oh, yeah, here. Trinidad Media Luna. Now, the ones that I got from La Casa del Habano, they're going to show it to us? No. Okay. So they had just released these Media Lunas when I was there 2 years ago. And these were, I can't say how these are because you know, who knows how they make them. But basically, the ones that I had that day, ooh, they were awesome. They were awesome. So if you get the chance, I would suggest trying this. This is really a really nice 5x50. So well worth trying out, I would say. So how's our cigar doing? So it here towards the end of the cigar, we're getting kind of long in it, right? It's still good. It's lost a lot of its complexity. It's lost a bit of its body. It's a lot drier on the palate at the moment. At the finish is a lot drier, and not bad. It's not bad. It's definitely not where it has been, right? We're definitely kind of coming onto a downward slope with the cigar. The Baratza Rusty got was 15 count and 100. Oh, not bad. It's knocked out that cherry on it. There's a pleasant aroma on the nose of the smoke. Very pleasant. Oh, last week, I remember telling you that I was going to, on Friday, I was going to go visit the J.M. Boswell shop in Chambersburg. So I drove up there on Friday, got to check it out. Nice pipes. You know, if you're not too familiar, J.M. Boswell makes their own pipes. Really, really nice. Like, actually, I was very tempted to buy one. I did not. I was able to refrain. I tried some of their tobacco. I brought my pipe with me so I could try some of their tobacco. So I got this Railroad Station blend, very, very heavy Perique. Like I have a small, like 1 ounce bag of it. It's just been sitting on the counter. Every time I walk by it, like I can smell that Perique. Or maybe it's Latakia. I don't really know cigar. I mean, I don't really know pipe tobacco very well, but it's really, really strong and pungent. They have a nice lounge upstairs. The smoke abatement in their lounge is decent. It got a little bit thick after a while. There was, I got there. When I arrived, there was 4 people there besides me. And then by the time that I left, there was like at least 8 or 9 people there. It was starting to get a little bit thick. Like I like my smoke abatement to be a little bit better. But it wasn't a bad time. It was a nice time. They have some drinks in the lounge. Here's our cigar. Like it's definitely not performing the way that it had been. So there's a part of it that's like, I should just put it down. Which is probably the right time to ask the big question. Would I buy it again? You know what? I think I'm leaning towards a yes. Really enjoyable overall. For the first 2/3 to really great, really great. Really liked everything about it. The draw was tighter than a lot of other cigars, but not too tight. Smoke was nice amount of smoke, not too much smoke, but just a good amount. Good, pleasant flavors throughout the entire, nicely well balanced, medium plus kind of body. My hesitation is the price point. Here in Maryland, we're talking like $14. Anything above 12 really kind of puts a pause. But very good. Very good. If we're going to put a score to it, instinctually, I'm thinking 90, 91. Oh, while I was at Boswell, I was able to try one of their. They had a cigar that I had never tried. I'd heard a lot about it from. I'd heard a lot about this cigar brand from Dave Garofalo on the Cigar Authority podcast, and it's called the La Gianna, the brand. It's named after Garofalo's daughter, Gianna Garofalo. And let me see, what did I smoke? Let me see, look at the details on it. Yeah, it was their La Gianna Torpedo Natural. So pretty thick ring gauge. I'd say, 52, 54. Pretty long, 6.5, maybe. That was actually very pleasant to smoke. I really enjoyed that one. I was looking for something different, something to add to the daily smoke. Like this week, I've smoked quite a lot. There's some weeks this past year where, of course, I'm always having a cigar during the show on Thursday nights, but then sometimes, there's been times when I haven't had maybe I'll have 1 or 2 in the week between the shows. Maybe do 1 night of cigaring, 2 nights maybe at the most, and then the rest of the week I don't. But this week it's been pretty heavy. Like I've smoked almost every night this week. Last night I just finally got to see Shang-Chi. That was pretty good. I enjoyed that. If you haven't seen it, Shang-Chi is the new Marvel, or the newer. I guess the new one is called The Eternals. I haven't seen that yet. My brother saw it. He was like, well, it's pretty good, but so many people that they have a lot of new characters. So it's kind of like with the first chapter of the MCU, we had Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America. They all had their own movies and multiple movies before they had the Avengers movie, right? Before they had them all come together. From what my brother was telling me, it's kind of like if you had done the Avengers first, and you had all the characters and you're trying to catch up on who they are, and they can't really have much development for the characters because, well, there's so many of them, you can't really give them enough time in maybe 2 hours. So I think that might be one of the more problematic aspects of the Eternals. And then Bond finally has come out on video. So the new Bond is out, the No Time to Die. That's always quite good. Yeah, this is, you know, it's actually starting to, like, it was good. It was riding high. Then we kind of had this low point, this part where it's declining. Now it's kind of hovering. Brian hates character development. I like Tony Stark. I like seeing his line. But the Shang-Chi was good because now we get to see Shang-Chi's story. So that's interesting. It's a little bit sharp. The cigar is a little bit sharp on the palate. It's definitely not where it was, but it's getting a little more lively. Like we had a little bit of fallow, now it's a little bit lively. We'll really bring it down to the nub, though. Oh, Snake Eyes was fun to watch. I did like that one. That was good. The G.I. Joe one. That's the G.I. Joe one, right? I did like that one. I'm trying to think what else I watch. You know, I've been watching, catching up on like shows like SWAT and Navy, the SEAL Team. SEAL Team finally made the move to the streaming service, which means that they've gone a little bit darker. Well, a little harder, I guess. It's not darker, but like this last episode, they actually showed charred bodies. I don't think they would have done that when it was on network. And then they also work in a few more colorful language. Drop a couple F-bombs. It's like, oh. I can't imagine that SEAL guys would be so benign in their language. Now I think they can get more to it. Cowboy Bebop. Oh, I haven't heard of that. What is that? Cowboy. Oh, animated series. Oh, okay. Action-packed space western about 3 bounty hunters. Whoa. We don't want to do that. Ooh, that does look interesting. Oh, so it's live action now. Okay, good. Oh, I'll have to check that out. Japanese science fiction film, neo-noir anime television series created animated. Oh, it says, oh, nice. Tony wants to know, how was Awkwafina? You know, Awkwafina, they always give her, you know, a lot of the roles that I've seen her in, like in Crazy Rich Asians, she's always playing some kind of cartoonish character, right? I did not see her in The Farewell, which I think she had a more serious role. In this movie, in Shang-Chi, she's much more, like at first, at the beginning of her character is very similar to what you'd expect from Awkwafina, but actually, she really gets into it, and like, I think she's good in it. I really enjoyed her role in it this time. I think she's good. I think she's got a lot of promise. Maybe I'll buy some. Yes, you should definitely buy Gerard's cigar. It's very, very good. I'm kind of tempted to break into the box because it's now 6 years old. No, 7. The Harder They Fall, Murder in the Building. Yeah, Brian, you said you saw The Harder They Fall, right? That you said that was good. It's a Nazi. I saw the thing for it. It's a Nazi-ish kind of, some kind of Nazi character in it. And Murder in the Building. One of my friends also said that he's a practitioner of Kung Fu. Very, very good at Kung Fu. And also with the sword, Chinese style sword. I don't even know what they call that, but he was telling that Rurouni, this is a show called Rurouni, what's it called? Rurouni Kenshin, I think it's called. Rurouni, let me look it up. It's 2 parts. Yeah, Rurouni Kenshin is the name. And he said the sword fighting in Rurouni Kenshin is awesome. And actually, I found out that in the second part, or the first part, the beginning, or the second part is the beginning. I think the final, I'm going to show you this. The Rurouni Kenshin, the beginning, they're both 2021 movies. Stars Kasumi Arimura, which is one of Japan's more famous actresses. I first saw her in a movie that they have called Cafe Funiculi Funicula, which is about this time-traveling coffee shop. So basically the premise is that you could go to this cafe, sit at this particular table, and get a coffee and travel back in time and relive a moment. And you'd have enough time until your coffee became cold, and then you had to come back. Otherwise, you get stuck in time. That was really good. So, now that I know that Kasumi's in it, I definitely will check that out. Rurouni Kenshin. So really bringing this down to the wire, it's still, despite it not being where it was throughout most of the cigar, it's still very enjoyable. There's still a lot to good flavor, good balance, a little bit sharper, a little bit harsher, but still very good. So I guess maybe with that in mind, would I buy it again? Yeah, I would have to say yes. I mean, even at $14, it's worth having again. How does this compare to something like the Imperial Jade? It's very different. It's much more fuller bodied, much more flavorful in that respect. But it doesn't have that level of balance that Imperial Jade Toro had. That Imperial Jade Toro it's like smoking perfection. Actually, I have one more of the Imperial Jade in a torpedo shape that I haven't smoked. And I've actually been hesitant to smoke it because it's a different size. And I'm worried that it won't be the same. So I've kind of held off on it. And plus, I'm also waiting for a time when I want to kind of smoke it when I can give it full attention. Oh, I know what else I had this week. I had one of the Weaselitos from Romacraft. I don't know which one I had because there's 3 of them. I think it was one of the darker wrapper ones. But man, that little tiny cigar was excellent. Really beautiful flavor. A lot of punchiness for such a small cigar. Another one I went back and grabbed one of my Romacraft Craft 2020s with the more Connecticut, or the lighter shade wrapper. That was really, really excellent. All right, I can no longer hold on. I am burning my fingers now. So I'm going to put it down. That was good. Oh, man. All right, that's good. So coming up, I guess that should be it. So let's All right, so now, thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate you spending another Thursday night with us. Next week, on the 11th, we're going to be smoking the Adrian Gonzalez. Oh, no, we're going to be on the 18th. We're going to be smoking the Yagua from J.C. Newman. Really interesting cigar. It's got this really funky box press to it. And then after that, it's Thanksgiving. We're almost at the end of the month. I really can't believe it. It's like end of the month is here. End of the year is here. Then after that, I'm not sure where we're going into December because I'm actually scheduled to fly to Riyadh, maybe on the 2nd or 3rd of December. So I'm not sure where that's going to put us, but we'll have something for that, for sure. But other than that, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you. We'll be back again next Thursday on the 18th at 8 p.m. As always, thanks for staying with me tonight. I know it's been a little bit of a longer show tonight. So I hope your week is going to be good. And see you next time.